snowflakes blinded his eyes. Stay until the darkness recedes, where the truth finally reveals itself. He had not spoken to another human being in 31 days. The stillness of the mountain was his only companion, a reminder that he was not alone, yet utterly isolated. What happened next changed everything he thought he knew about himself. The howling wind and the creaking of his ice axe against the frozen rock were the only sounds that broke the silence. As he trudged through the knee-deep snow, the weight of his backpack threatened to engulf him, a constant reminder of his mortality. The silence that followed was unlike any he had ever heard, a deafening quiet that seemed to reverberate through every cell of his body. He had been warned about the blizzard, but he had to push on, driven by a force that he couldn't quite explain. The storm raged on, a cacophony of snow and ice that seemed to have no end. And yet, in the midst of the chaos, he found a strange sense of calm, a stillness that seemed to emanate from the very core of his being. What he discovered out there is something most people spend a lifetime avoiding. As the hours turned into days, the climber's body began to weaken, his muscles screaming in protest as he struggled to find shelter from the storm. The snow fell in thick, heavy flakes that blinded and disoriented him, making every step a struggle for survival. But even as his body weakened, his mind began to expand, stretching out into the vast expanse of the mountain like a canvas waiting to be filled. The storm raged on, a relentless drumbeat that seemed to match the rhythm of his heart. And yet, in the midst of the turmoil, he found moments of perfect clarity, flashes of insight that seemed to illuminate the darkest recesses of his soul. As the darkness deepened, he stumbled upon a small cave, a tiny crevice in the rock face that offered him a fragile refuge from the storm. He collapsed onto the frozen ground, his body exhausted, his mind reeling from the sheer force of the blizzard. But even as he rested, he knew that he couldn't stay there for long, that he had to keep moving, no matter how slowly, if he was to survive. The silence that followed was like a warm bath, enveloping him in a sense of peace that seemed to seep into his very bones. He closed his eyes, letting the stillness wash over him, and for a moment, he forgot about the storm, forgot about the mountain, forgot about everything except the gentle rhythm of his own heartbeat. What happened next changed everything he thought he knew about himself. As he emerged from the cave, he was greeted by a world transformed, a landscape of snow and ice that seemed to stretch out before him like an endless canvas. The storm had passed, leaving behind a stillness that was almost palpable, a sense of calm that seemed to reverberate through every cell of his body. He stood there, frozen in awe, his eyes drinking in the beauty of the mountain, his heart overflowing with a sense of wonder. And in that moment, he knew that he had been changed forever, that the experience had left an indelible mark on his soul. The journey had been one of discovery, a journey into the depths of his own heart, and what he had found there was a sense of peace, a sense of calm that seemed to emanate from the very core of his being. As he made his way back down the mountain, he knew that he would never forget the experience, that it would stay with him for the rest of his life, a reminder of the power of solitude, the power of nature to transform and transcend. The memory of the blizzard would stay with him, a reminder of the fragility of life, the beauty of the natural world, and the depths of his own heart. And so, he returned, changed forever, his spirit renewed, his heart filled with a sense of wonder, his soul at peace. The stillness of the mountain had spoken to him, and he had listened, and what he had heard was a message of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always a way forward, always a chance to rediscover oneself, to find the strength to carry on. As he looked out at the mountain, now a distant memory, he knew that he would return, that he would always be drawn to the stillness, the peace, and the beauty of the natural world. For in the end, it was not the storm that had changed him, but the silence that followed, the stillness that had spoken to his heart, and the peace that had filled his soul. If this story moved you, if it made you stop, breathe, and think, subscribe to Still Waters Speak.